Hi guys, back with another video where I'm going to be discussing the Z6 Mark II 4K 60 frames a second capability coming up in an update in February. Yes folks, in this video I'm going to be looking at the Z6 Mark II 4K 60 frames a second capability and why I think that's a great upgrade to an already great camera. Now the Z6 produces some amazing footage in 1080p 120 frames a second. It really is a nice camera to use and produces quality images, but there is a downside to that. I'm going to explain what it is and I'm going to kind of compare 4K sample footage, and I'm going to show you why I'm looking forward to the Nikon Z6 Mark II upgrade to 4K 60 frames a second. But before we get into that, I'll show you the 60-second clip of the footage I've shot in 120 from the Z6. So take a look at this, and after this we'll discuss why I'm going to be looking forward to the 4K upgrade. The Z6, as you can see, shoots beautiful 120 frames a second slow-mo. It really is superb. Now it shoots in 1080p. Now the only downside to shooting in 1080p is that I don't really get the opportunity to crop in. In that situation that you just saw there, I'm shooting rather high ISOs, so if I crop in, you're kind of losing the ability to kind of keep that quality within the image and you start seeing all of the noise in the image. So that's one of the downsides of shooting at 1080p. But shooting in 4K 60 frames a second is going to allow me to have some really nice slow-mo action, but it's also going to give me the opportunity to crop into the image when I'm in the post-processing stage in Final Cut Pro. So that's going to give me a massive amount of flexibility. To explain that a little bit better, now we're shooting in 4K. If I crop right into the face, you can see you don't really lose much quality, especially on the platforms like YouTube and all the other social media platforms. It's not really going to be that noticeable. But if I start recording in 1080p and I'll crop right in, so now we're shooting at 1080p, looks great. You can't really see much of a difference, I don't think, especially on YouTube. But if I crop right in, that's when you'll notice the difference in quality in the video. Now if I put them up side by side, you can see that difference now. Now obviously we're shooting under studio light conditions, so it's going to be a little bit of a better quality from the video footage. But if we're out and about like we were in that situation, there is going to be noise in the video, so you're going to see that when you crop in, so it's going to be a lot noisier than it is now. So having 4K 60 frames a second, like I say, is going to give me the ability to obviously shoot a slow motion video and be able to crop right into my edits if I need to. But not only that, shooting 4K internally, obviously it being 8-bit, it's going to give me a lot more flexibility when I come to the colour grade part of it as well. There's going to be a lot more scope for colour grade. I can push it that little bit more without introducing more grain into the footage, or without kind of destroying the footage and going too far with it. It's going to give me a lot more flexibility within the editing suite as well. So that's why I'm really looking forward to the Z6 Mark II. I know it's coming in an update at some point, and they might end up upgrading it to 120 frames a second if they think they can through a firmware upgrade. Who knows? That could be possible. I'd be really excited if they did. 4K 120. The ironic thing is, obviously, the footage I was shooting there was for a review of the Canon R5, which obviously already shoots 4K 120, I do believe, which is pretty phenomenal. So we're going to enjoy the 4K 60. You never know, in a firmware upgrade, they might make it 120, who knows. But one of the other plus points of shooting 4K 60 is that I don't have to ramp up the shutter speed on the camera to 240 if I'm shooting in 120, which therefore allows me to kind of, if I'm shooting in them dark areas that you've just saw in that video footage, I can drop my shutter speed, therefore dropping the ISO, therefore creating a cleaner image. So you're still going to get some really nice smooth footage and quality image out of the camera. So I'm really excited about this update coming to the Nikon Z6. I cannot wait. So as a little bonus tip to this video as well, folks, I want to touch on a little thing, something that I've come across the last couple of weeks on a website which I cannot remember the name of the guy who posted. I do apologise, so if it is you, I am sorry. But it was a little technique that he used to get really smooth 4K footage shooting in 30 frames a second. Now normally I'll open up a 24 frame project in Final Cut Pro and everything that comes onto that timeline has already been shot in 24 frames a second, so it just looks nice and natural looking in the video. Now shooting in 30 frames a second, what you do is obviously still create that project in 24 frames a second, but you drop all your footage on that timeline and then slow all the footage down by 80%. Not only does this kind of smooth out any little bumps, it still gives you that natural look that it hasn't been slowed down and allows you to have that nice smooth look to your footage. You can see that it just takes out them little wobbles. So there you go, that's a nice little bonus. I thought that was brilliant. I've been trying that out over a couple of shoots and it works phenomenally well. Something that I'm going to be implementing in my workflow when I'm shooting more videos, again giving me more flexibility when I'm on site shooting, and I come up with certain scenarios where I need a lower shutter speed for light situations. So great little technique there, guys. So that's why I'm really excited about the Nikon Z6 Mark II update to 4K 60 frames a second. So before we finish the video, I'm going to pop up that 60-second clip of the 120 from the Z6. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, folks. Give it a thumbs up if you've liked this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you then.